Good afternoon. Welcome to the May 3rd meeting of the Brentwood Rotary Club. For those of you visiting today, my name is Michael King, and I am the president of this club for 7 more meetings. So, what that means to you is, if you have any business for Rotary between now and June, now would be a really good time to talk to Sarah. Today's invocation will be given by Randy Bostic, followed by Linus Sigis with the pledge and the 4-way test. If you don't know, John Stokes had to go into the hospital earlier this week. He is back home. They were going to do surgery, then he said no surgery, but he's resting pretty comfortably, and he is back home. So please keep John in your continued prayers. Randy?
Would you pray with me, please? Father God, we are just grateful to be here. Father, we look around this room and we see the talent and the generosity of spirit. Father, we just are glad to be here today, and we thank you. Father, we do pray for John as he recovers. Father, we ask that you'll bring him back to us soon, and that he'll be able to come and enjoy this company very, very soon. Father, for what we do at Rotary, we pray that you will give us opportunities to serve our community, to serve the people around us, and Father, to do the things that we say we do on the 4-way test. Father, we're grateful for your son. We're grateful for the food today, and we thank you for the people that prepared it. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Please face the flag and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now the 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First is the truth. Second is to bear all concern. Third, will do and fourth, will be beneficial to all concerned.
All righty. Secretary Keeley Hall is going to introduce our guest and visiting Rotarians.
All right. So I get the distinct honor of introducing all of our guests today and all of our visiting Rotarians. And so I will start with George Campbell, who is, in fact, all of our guests and all of our visiting Rotarians in one.
Thank you. In case most of you don't know, this past April 23rd, our club, the Breakfast Club here in Brentwood, celebrated our 20th anniversary. And it is because of you guys getting us started and sponsoring us that we were able to do that. We have our fundraiser, 17th fundraiser, coming up this evening. It's a writer's night with a great slate of writers at the Brentwood High School Gymnasium Performing Arts Center. And since we just celebrated our 20th anniversary and you guys sponsored us, we thought that it would be nice if we made 20 tickets available free of charge to you guys in case somebody's looking for a cheap date night. So, anybody that needs tickets, see me afterwards. Thank you.
All right, and that is it. Back to you, President Michael King.
Thank you very much, George. Thank you, Keeley. Larry Kane needs a moment or two of your time. Larry?
All right, golf talk. We do not meet next week, right? We do not meet let's start all over again. We do not meet May 17th.
Should we get Alan Treadway to do this announcement?
So we're going to be talking a lot of golf over these next two meetings, this week and next week. After next week, our next meeting is May 31st. We'll have 3 weeks from that time until we have a tournament. Next week, we will be sitting with our sales teams. So when you come in, look on the table for your team captain, and that's where we'll sit. So just be prepared for that. So let's go over real quick some numbers that are interesting to see where we are with our tournament. We've got 54 days left till the tournament. Back in January when I made this first announcement, we had 160. It seemed like forever. And now we got 54, about 7 weeks. So we're getting very close. We've got 42 hole sponsors from last year we've not heard from. Somebody in this room or one of our members owns those small hole sponsors. So please call them if you have not already, and let's get last year's hole sponsors in. Those should be easy. We still have 38 members who have not participated. I was going to say done nothing, but it's not rude. So who have not participated. And so we love for those, if you're one of those 38, it's okay, but we love for you to participate. Get a hole sponsor. Get 2 hole sponsors. We've got 98. We got 101. I got 3 hole sponsors today. We got 101 hole sponsors. Our goal is 200. We got 6 weeks to get the same amount that we've gotten since January. So a little pressure. That's okay. We did it last year. We've raised 76% of our goal of $90,000 so far, so we got a little ways to go. Here's what I was referring to. Last year on May the 11th, we had 88 hole sponsors, and our goal last year was 120, and we ended up with 142. So this year we're at 102, and our goal is 200, a little more than that, but we had a big push in that last month last year, so let's do that again this year. Now then, who has been working hard? Bart King's been working hard. Bart King got 5 hole sponsors. Bart King. Have a little dinner on us, Bart. George Johnson, Harrison McCampbell, Jimmy Ryan, and Sybil Buchanan have all gotten 3 hole sponsors. Yay for them. I would like for Miss Sybil to come up here for a minute. Come on, Sybil. And let me tell you why Sybil is my poster child for this golf tournament right now. Who recognizes this list that is entitled Potential Sponsors? Everybody got it. We've talked about it for 2 years. It's just a list of people that you know. Everybody in this room knows somebody on this list that you can call on. Last year, Miss Sybil was a new member. She was determined to get a hole sponsor, and she didn't. She got me a gift certificate to a hair salon. That's what she asked her hair salon, and that's what they gave her.
And I asked restaurants too.
Yeah.
They're boycotting.
She was very frustrated, and she told me, "I'm going to get a hole sponsor this year." I said, "I know you can do it, Sybil." So Sybil got her list out and looked down here, and the third thing on here is your dentist. Sybil goes to her dentist a few weeks ago. Bam, hole sponsor.
But can I just say something? Sure. What do I have? About 10 minutes? No, all I was going to say is my dentist that I had when I came here, he actually retired, and a new dentist came in and took over his practice. Is this on? Yeah. Okay. And
Don't get too close to that.
okay. And so I thought, what a great opportunity for him to get his name out. So I just think, I know we don't join Rotary for business, but I think we should patronize people that support our efforts like this. And so if anyone needs a dentist, his name is Dr. Glasscock. And with a name like that, you know he must be good.
Okay, we'll move on from that. Anyway, Sybil went out after getting her dentist, that after-named dentist, and got another hole sponsor. Now listen to this. Y'all listen to this. So Sybil is still looking for her third hole sponsor, and she goes down the list, and she sees the last thing on the list, which is a rich guy who likes you. Now, you laugh about that, but think about that for just a minute. So that's what Sybil did, and she goes to a neighbor.
Well, let me get this. Okay. So he actually checks 2 boxes. He's a neighbor who's rich and likes me. And he even said, he was my first one. He even said, "Oh, is this annual? Oh, I'll do it every year."
All right, there you go. Personal testimony. The sheet works. She went from 0 to 3, and she's not through yet. So here, this won't pay for all your dinner, but it'll pay for part of it.
Well, what about my third one?
Thank you. I think you should throw it.
No, you didn't.
No.
Okay, so then the last one was on there. You have a member of the or if you
Yeah,
work
YMCA.
out of the
Workout buddy.
YMCA or workout buddy.
Yeah.
So anyone that knows me knows I do belong to the YMCA, but I'm not there enough to actually have any buddies. But my husband goes to the Green Hills YMCA 5 days a week. So I asked him, I go, do you know anyone? So he asked one of his friends there who said he would do it. So you should add to that spouse's friends.
Spouse's friend. Got it. We'll add that for next year.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so these lists are on the green table. If you don't have the list, there's also a list of our new major sponsors. There's also the book we handed out the very first meeting if anybody wants to get that. Real quick, here's where you can help us right now. Yep. All right, you need to collect your 2018 whole sponsors, the ones we have not gotten, that 42. Get those. Number 2, remember our goal was $500 a member. And I'll say it one more time. The Franklin Rotary Breakfast Club, the dean of golf tournaments, has a $1,000 per member minimum. And they get it. So, anyway. Number 3, sell a new sponsorship. Get a renewal, but then sell a new one. Go out and find 2 or 3 more like Sybil did. And then work on our new sponsorship opportunities. They're on the table. We've got some really nice ones up there. I think Kip sold one this morning. I talked to him about that, so we can do that. Sell our scoreboard. Here's our scoreboard. Just like you see on the tour. If you ride by Nashville Golf right now and look at the 18th hole, as you can see from the road, there's a scoreboard just like this sitting up there on there for the tour tournament that's out there this week. Here's why you want to sell it. We're going to have a picture made of every foursome, and it'll be in front of the scoreboard with their names on it, which means every sponsor that you see on this scoreboard will be out. Wherever this picture goes, there's their name out there. Recognition on social media, big deal. And you can also, on this scoreboard, you can put any kind of advertisement or message you want to up there all day long. So if somebody says, I want some exposure, this is about as good as it gets. And it's $2,000, and we'd love to sell that. I'll talk to you guys next week. Thank you. Have a good week. Sell something.
Thank you, Larry. All right. Remember, May 17th, 2 weeks from today, we will not meet here. The district conference is on May 17th, and that luncheon is in lieu of our regular club meeting, but you must register. The club will pay for your lunch, but you must register. You were sent an email with the registration link earlier this week, and the registration link is also in the bulletin that I sent out. So please register for the district conference luncheon May 17th, 2 Fridays from now. I believe it's 11 to 12:30. It's something like 11 to 12:30. All righty. Last thing I want to do before we get to our speaker is I've had some Paul Harris Fellow Awards that have been building up, and I'd like to get some of them distributed. So, Richard Green, would you come up here, please? You are a Paul Harris Fellow +1. All right. Kip Dotson, Paul Harris Fellow +1. All right. Patrick Wright, Paul Harris Fellow +2. Let's see. Sybil Buchanan, Paul Harris Fellow +2.
Thank you.
No.
You want to know how I did it?
No. Oh, God, no. Okay, so previously in a quick ceremony before she left, Jane Covington was also a Paul Harris Fellow +2, and I gave her her award and said we would all clap for her after she left. So congratulations, Jane Covington. All right. Charles Grumman, Paul Harris Fellow +4.
Where's my picture? Oh, here we go. There we go, yeah.
Okay. Is Betsy Crossley here? No. Okay. And Leon's not here. Harrison Campbell's not here, right? Okay. Michael Barrett, Paul Harris Fellow +7. Stop talking about me.
He wants you to wear your sport coat.
Never. All right, I think that's all the folks that are here today. There's a few more that I will try to give away over the course of the next few weeks. Okay, it is time for Charles to introduce our speaker.
All right. Okay. It's a privilege to sit at a table next to someone so beautiful. Thank you, Tim. I am pleased to introduce Miss Tennessee, Christine Williamson. Wow, I really need the readers for this one. They put this in 8-point font. You got to talk to your person about that. What is it? Like 200? Oh, well, that really works. All right. Christine Williamson was awarded the opportunity of a lifetime when she was crowned Miss Tennessee on June 23rd, 2018 at the Carl Perkins Civic Center in Jackson, Tennessee. As Miss Tennessee, FTB Advisors, that's a competitor of mine, so we're not going to say their name. Some criminal organization sponsors Christine as she serves as the governor's official spokesperson for character education and travels 80,000 miles speaking to 50,000 school children about character education. Christine is a 23-year-old graduate student at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga College of Business, pursuing her master's degree, as well as an additional certification in data analytics. You can't even spell data analytics. Yeah. She was honored with the UTC Chancellor's Outstanding Service Award for Outstanding Academics and Service this past summer. She's not only a member of the UTC Graduate Student Association, but also Public Relations Chairman. She is a graduate of the University of Mississippi. Thank you. With a Bachelor of Arts degree in Broadcast Journalism with an emphasis in Public Relations and a minor in Political Science. She was on the University of Mississippi Dean's List, founding member of the Anti-Sexual Assault Organization, and student member of the lobbying group AIM, as well as iStart. I wonder where that is. Okay. Christine has been awarded over $49,000 in college scholarships from her participation in the Miss Tennessee program and received the coveted Miss Tennessee Quality of Life Award in 2018, also preliminary lifestyle and fitness winner, as she captured the Miss Tennessee crown. All right. So, fabulous resume. Can't wait to hear what you have to say. Welcome, Christine Williamson. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be a little bit taller today, but that's okay. It's just because my heels. It's just the heels. We're the same height when I'm in flats. Oh, I'm sorry if I struck a nerve. I know, I was already in trouble for the 8-point font. I'll have to get on my business manager about that. But thank y'all so much for having me. I so appreciate y'all welcoming me today and being so kind to have me and feed me, and also forgiving me for not realizing that Mr. Blackburn was, in fact, Marsha Blackburn's husband. That was a fun realization when I asked him, oh, any relation? So thank y'all for understanding. But like you said, my name's Christine Williamson, and I'm so honored to get to serve for just the next 6 more weeks as Miss Tennessee. I was crowned back in June in Jackson, Tennessee, and I've had the chance to serve all across our great state this year, and it has been the best job ever, the also most exhausting job ever, but I wouldn't trade it for the world, and I really don't want to crown the next girl, so like maybe if I just don't show up, they'll let me just keep going. We'll figure it out. It'll be fine. But I am an Ole Miss graduate, and I loved my time in Oxford. But I was really, really excited when I found out how much less expensive in-state tuition was at UT Chattanooga, and it's been an incredible opportunity to get to pursue my master's there, to follow my mom's footsteps. She was the first person in our family to receive her master's degree, and I'll be going on to pursue my PhD in public policy and leadership, and I'll be the first person in my family to obtain my PhD. So it means a lot to my family and I, but also the possibility to even go on to graduate school and to complete my bachelor's degree meant so much. And it was all made possible because of the Miss Tennessee program. I wouldn't have been able to afford college or graduate school without them, or without the amazing $49,000 they've afforded me in college scholarships. I was able to graduate debt-free, and I'll be able to go on to complete my master's debt-free. The PhD, I'm going to have to figure out some student loans, so that's going to be fun. But this year I've had so many incredible opportunities, and I'm really excited to get to go back to UTC this fall. But to tell you a little bit about my job this year and what I'm going to be doing for the next 6 weeks and what I've been doing for the last year, I'll explain that very briefly. I had the chance to represent Tennessee at the Miss America pageant in Atlantic City, which was such a huge honor to see so many Tennesseans come to encourage me and cheer for me and be there, and then to welcome me with open arms when I got to return home. I was the only contestant to be a finalist for the Women in Business Award and for the Quality of Life Award, and I was the first Miss Tennessee to be a finalist for the Women in Business Award, which was an incredible honor, and I was so grateful for all the people that helped make that possible and helped prepare me for that award. When you compete for those 2 extra awards, and when you compete for Miss Tennessee or Miss America, you have a private 10-minute interview. They don't tell you till you get there that when you qualify for additional awards, there's an additional 20-minute interview per award. So I was really glad that my prep team let me know that ahead of time, and that the other contestants didn't know that. So I really appreciate them. But to tell you a little bit about my journey to become Miss Tennessee and why I'm so passionate about this job and what this job is. As you can see, there's 4 points on my crown, and they actually all symbolize 4 different points that the Miss Tennessee program stands for, counting for style, service, scholarship, and success. And I never knew that growing up. I wasn't around pageants as a kid. Didn't really know much about them. I was always very competitive, but I didn't realize that I could be competitive and wear heels and have rhinestones. So this was just the best of all the things. But I remember competing for the very first time as a nervous 17-year-old that had no idea how to walk in heels or a gown. My dad convinced me when I was a senior in high school, and I originally thought that I would be competing in our Outstanding Teen program since I was, 17. What I didn't realize that at 17 is they bump you up when you're a senior in high school to the Miss Division. I'd never worn a 2-piece swimsuit in public before, so this was a huge change, but especially for my very Baptist father. But I got involved, and I was able to channel my competitive energy into something that allowed me opportunities to give back to my community. Like I said, one of the 4 points is service, and that's one of the things that I love so much about this program. But I didn't know that preparing for competition would help me become a more rounded individual, that it would help me pay for undergraduate and my master's degree, or that it would teach me so much about my physical and nutritional health. It actually took me 5, almost 6 years to become Miss Tennessee. That first year when I was competing as a nervous 17-year-old, I remember going to pageant after pageant after pageant and running up and getting so excited. I was like, I was so close. And then I was like, all right, this is exhausting. Let's do some more work and then we'll come back. But I gained almost $1,000 in scholarship just as a senior in high school, getting my feet wet and getting used to the system. Then the next year I came back and won the title of Miss Memphis, which was wonderful to get to represent my hometown of Memphis, Tennessee. And then 6 years of hard work and dedication led me to this moment to be able to stand before you today. Thankfully, 6 years of competing in total also racked up almost $50,000 in scholarship. But I found some of my best friends in this program. I found so many opportunities to give back, and I'd love to tell you a little bit more about those. What I didn't realize about the program is that the Miss America organization is also the largest scholarship provider for women in the entire world. That meant a lot, being how much education means to my family. My dad was the first person to go to college in our family. So being able to walk across the University of Mississippi stage at commencement meant so much. My dad had always wanted to go to Ole Miss but couldn't afford it. And so he ended up paying his way through college and went to the University of Memphis, which he loved. Go Tigers. But it was his dream to always go to Ole Miss. He wasn't able to attend his college graduation because he had to work that day. My parents owned a small demolition business in Memphis that I grew up working in, which is probably not what you expected from me. But there's usually like a hard hat involved instead of a crown. But it taught me so much about hard work and how much it meant to be able to even pursue my education, and that it was a privilege and not necessarily a right. But to be able to have that chance because of the crown that sits on my head means more than I can explain. And like I said, my mom was the first person to get her master's degree. So to have the chance to follow in her footsteps and to continue that path and be able to forge the way for my PhD means so much to me, and I'm so grateful for the opportunities they've given me. But while they've also given me scholarships, and I'm really glad that means no student loans for right now, they've also given me a full-time job this year. I have to take the year off as Miss Tennessee from school because I serve as the governor's character education spokesperson traveling the state of Tennessee more than 80,000 miles. We passed that in January, so we're probably at 90 now, which I'm sure my car sponsor is really thrilled about. And I've had the chance to speak to more than 50,000 students, which is I think we passed that in February. I've had triple the bookings of any other Miss Tennessee, which has been incredibly humbling and exhausting and wonderful all at the same time. I never knew how much energy kids take until you're around them every single day for 8 hours a day, but they're also my favorite part of the job. As the governor's character education spokesperson, I get to talk about one character trait at all of these schools. So I chose to talk about respect. And I'll never forget my first day back from Miss America, going back to my first school because you compete August through September, and so school wasn't in session before that. And so I get back. It's my first school really as Miss Tennessee. I'd shadowed before as a local title holder, and so I go to my first school, and I will never forget how incredibly humbling this job can be when I got licked in the first 5 minutes of being at this school. So that was fun. Always keeping me very, very humble. But I love getting to share with the students about respect. We usually do big school presentations or classroom visits for them to ask questions. But we talk about respect with our friends and anti-bullying and that kind of a message that goes along with the governor's program. We talk about respecting our families, even our little sisters and older brothers, and how hard sometimes that can be. But the point I really like to focus on, especially with my older students, is the opportunity they have to respect themselves with their choices, with their futures, and especially with their choices on social media. And I love getting to share with them my message of perseverance when it comes to self-respect. I love getting to share with them that I was actually one of the kids that failed math. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. I always share with them that I failed math in 8th, 9th, and 10th grade because I was undiagnosed with 3 learning disabilities back in middle school and high school. We didn't know that I have severe ADHD, dyslexia, I have a specific form called dyscalculia, and an auditory processing disorder. So if I say what like 3 times when you ask me something, that's why I'm not being rude, I promise. But I always love getting to share my message of determination with them, that even though it wasn't fun going to summer school those years, even though it was hard and I didn't understand why, I didn't understand until I was 21 that I had those learning disabilities, that you can overcome anything that you face. Even if it takes 5 times to achieve your dream of becoming Miss Tennessee, almost 6. Even if it takes summer school and tutors and meeting with your teachers, that they can achieve anything they set their minds to. And it is one of the most humbling opportunities to get to share that with them. And one of my other favorite things that I get to do in our classrooms on a more intimate basis, it's a little bit harder to do this with like 3,000 students in front of you, is to get to read a children's book I wrote this summer. My personal platform that I'll come back to in a second is the Alzheimer's Association, and I've had the chance to work with them for almost 7 years. But this year I had the chance to write a children's book along with a Vanderbilt graduate student who is my illustrator. She is smarter than I could ever hope to be. She is an art major and a neuroscience major from Vanderbilt, so I don't think she sleeps. But I was so grateful for her talents and helping me communicate this message to little ones. Because while I've had a great opportunity to help lobby for the Alzheimer's Association and promote their awareness efforts, it is really hard to explain that incredibly long word that most little ones can't spell on a 1st to 3rd grade level. And it was really hard to find a book or a tool that explained this to them in a concise way that keeps, a 3rd grader's attention. Because I don't know if you've tried to keep a 3rd grader's attention for a 50-page book, but it doesn't happen. So I took it upon myself this year to write a children's book called Memories Matter. And it's about a little purple elephant named Ellie and her grandpa and what happens in her feelings when he is diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, that it's not her fault, what she can do, and then it provides talking points in the back for parents and teachers and families to continue the conversation at home. But this way it becomes a little less scary and it gets explained through a little purple elephant and her grandpa. But the most important message in the book is that they will always love you no matter what. Even though sometimes our memories fade, and even though Alzheimer's is an incredibly complex and cruel thing for all of us that are touched by this disease, that it doesn't matter and it doesn't change the way they feel about you. It can never take away the memories you shared together or the fact that they love you and that you love them too. And I think that's so important for little ones because their feelings are what matter in the grand scheme of things at that age. So I love getting to take that book into children's schools and at different daycares around the state. And it's actually available on Amazon as an ebook and print book if you're interested in purchasing. And all the proceeds go to the Alzheimer's Association. This year, in addition to promoting my platform with the Alzheimer's Association, I've had the chance to serve as the Volunteer Tennessee Honorary Board Chairman to promote service in our state with the Tennessee Commission on Aging and Disability, the Tennessee Brain Game spokesperson. But one of my favorite parts of this job is getting to serve as an ambassador and congressional advocate for the Alzheimer's Association. Like I said, my work with them began about 7 years ago, and when I was deciding to compete, I knew that I would have to choose a personal platform. And for me, this was an easy choice because of how my family had been so greatly affected by this disease. I was 8 years old when my grandfather was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. At the time, he was living in Phoenix, where my mom is from, and we knew that we couldn't give him the proper care and attention he deserved all the way out there. So we moved him from Phoenix to Memphis, Tennessee. And for a while, he lived with us until we realized how the disease was progressing and that we needed to give him around-the-clock 24/7 care, which my family couldn't do running a business and with my little sister and I being so young. So we moved my grandpa to Memphis. I think we toured every retirement home that exists in the Shelby County area until my mom decided on a place that would give him the best possible care. So when I began competing, I knew that we promote a personal platform. Each contestant, each title holder promotes a cause that means something to her. And for me, now having lost 4 family members to this disease and being a caregiver for 11 years for my grandpa, it was an easy choice. Because I understand that pain that is felt if you have lost someone with Alzheimer's or if you're a caregiver. The pain of feeling that you want to do something, but you feel like it's almost impossible to fix the situation. So I chose to turn that pain and that sorrow into a passion and into a mission. So it's been a huge honor to get to work with the Alzheimer's Association and to use that same kind of feeling that I know these little ones are feeling, not only in classrooms, but to also use that for service work with the Alzheimer's Association. So along with the book, I've had the chance to lobby with the Alzheimer's Impact Movement, also known as AIM. And I did not have the chance to go to DC this year and visit your wife, unfortunately, but I will go next year. But I've had the chance to go for 3 years to DC and speak to our legislators about why funding Alzheimer's research is so important. Right now, there are more than 500,000 Tennesseans being affected by this disease. There are more than 5.7 million Americans suffering from this disease. And there's more than 16 million Americans taking care of those people that are diagnosed. And like I said, I can understand firsthand what that pain feels like. But one of the things I love about working with the Alzheimer's Association is knowing that there is hope and knowing that a cure is coming and that we're projected to see a reversal in Alzheimer's disease and a way to treat it by 2025. And to see the research efforts that are going on across the country. We're the largest research funder for Alzheimer's disease in the world. And a lot of that is going on right in our own backyard in Nashville, Tennessee. I had the chance to sit down with Dr. Jeffrey Kahn in the neuroscience department at Vanderbilt and to hear about the behavioral programs they're working on, the neuroscience imaging programs to reverse plaque buildup that's often the cause of Alzheimer's disease, that they're all seeing lots and lots of progress with all of these programs they're working on right here at Vanderbilt, which means so much to know that Tennessee is leading the way in finding a cure and that it is coming by 2025. While that won't completely erase Alzheimer's, I'm so excited that I get to work with an association that is dedicated to creating a world without Alzheimer's disease. Another large part of my job that I love so much is getting to serve as the State Goodwill Ambassador for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Kind of a mouthful. And one of our local hospitals is Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. We have 5 in Tennessee, and what CMN does is they step in and bridge the gap for hospitals when insurance doesn't cover all the costs of healthcare, or when a family doesn't have insurance, so that no child is turned away and can't afford the opportunity to go to the hospital and receive the proper health care they deserve. So I get to go to all 5 of these hospitals and spend time with these kids, and it's so important because 62 children enter a CMN hospital every minute in the United States. And it's a huge honor to get to fundraise for them because Medicare, Medicaid, and insurance doesn't always cover all of those costs, and we don't want the hospitals to have to turn away any families. It is so much fun for me to get to go into the hospital rooms and bring teddy bears and princess crowns and superhero capes and to spend time with the kids to take their minds off of the hospital walls and the treatment that's going on, because that can be very, very heavy for the families and for the children. One of my favorite memories that I love so much about CMN hospitals is over the last few years I've gotten to work with Erlanger Children's in Chattanooga pretty closely, especially living there. And you get to form relationships with the people and the families that are there. when you start to see them on a regular basis. Last year I had the chance to go to Erlanger Children's about every week, and usually I'm in a CMN hospital this year about every 2 to 3 weeks, depending on what area I'm in. But one of my favorite memories about CMN hospitals and why it means so much is a little girl named Aria. A few years ago, she was 2 years old when I met her, and I was going to the hospital, signing autographs, spending time with the kids, having a great time, bringing crowns, one of my favorite things. And she comes running out of her room, this tiny little girl with no hair, comes running out of her room with her IV pole and starts running towards me, and she sees I bring an extra crown that looks just like mine for them to try on. And she sees my crown and takes it from me and puts it on upside down. I was like, okay, girl, and runs away. I was like, bye. And her mom later brought her back. I was like, that one I can't give away. It was expensive. But her mom brought her back, and we started talking, and I didn't realize that at the time it was her very first chemotherapy treatment. She was diagnosed with a very aggressive form of cancer that made it incredibly hard for her to eat or to stand because of the incredibly aggressive chemotherapy that they had to use to treat her cancer. But one of the things I love so much about CMN hospitals is they're not just about treating the disease or treating the sickness. They want to treat it the best way possible. They want to find the best specialists for these children. So 2 years later, when she was 4 years old with a curly head of blonde hair and still just as loud and just as excited about crowns, and sometimes she rips it off my head. It's okay. We're used to it. 2 years later, with a full head of hair and a big smile on her face, I had the chance to be there to celebrate her very last chemotherapy treatment. And that was all made possible because of CMN hospitals. So if you have the chance to volunteer with Vanderbilt Children's or Erlanger Children's, if you want to come see us in Chattanooga, we would love to have you because they are so very important to these children and to their lives. And it has been such a huge honor to get to work with those families, to get to work with the Alzheimer's Association, and to get to serve as the governor's character education spokesperson this year. It's definitely a job that I don't want to give up ever because, I do get paid, and that's pretty wonderful, and I'm going to miss that when I'm in school, but going back to that traditional job, it'll be fine. And I'm so grateful for the bank that we shall not mention that sponsored my year and all the people that have made this incredible year possible. It has been the opportunity of a lifetime to get to serve Tennessee. And I can't thank you all enough for having me and for letting me come visit with you. I've so appreciated it. And I'm happy to answer questions if anybody has them, but I really appreciate y'all's time. No one was there. Oh, sorry. Yes.
So, can you share a little bit about your family? Like, you have brothers and sisters, and you touched on briefly that you're competitive.
Very.
And then also, just a little bit about the demolition business.
Sure. So I have one little sister. Her name's Crystal, and she competed for all of 5 minutes. She was Miss Banana Pudding Festival's outstanding team. And then I'm really sad it's a pageant that doesn't happen anymore. A little bitter. But she enjoyed it. She is the jock of the family, and I am. My mom says that she always lost me in the mall, and I'd be trying on the giant rhinestone heels, so this just felt appropriate when the time came. But for me, I've always been very, very competitive. But when I transitioned to a new school in 8th grade, it had an all-honors curriculum. So being undiagnosed with that, being in a challenging school, I focused all of that energy into grades. And there was a very unhealthy practice of announcing grades to the class. So for me, I was like, well, I'm going to beat all of you. But not knowing what obstacles I was against, for me, all of my energy went into that. And so this gave me a way to channel that both physically, mentally, and then in a service aspect too. But for demolition, it's been in our family for 3 generations, Memphis Wrecking Company. I grew up working the scrapyard. Like I said, probably not what y'all expected, but it taught me so much about my work ethic and seeing my dad wake up at 4:30 every morning and be at the office by 6, seeing my mom run the office side while he does most of the field work on the landfill and the job sites taught me a lot about what it means to provide for a family and to how to go for something if you really want it and how to dedicate yourself. Yeah, of course. Yes.
And you have a chaperone that goes with you wherever you go. You have somebody that's kind of like your handler, sort of. So
that would be great if you're volunteering. Let's go. But I do have a business manager, and I'm really grateful for her because it is hard to respond to emails when you're driving 80,000 miles and above. But so they don't send anyone with us. Some state title holders do have handlers, but not as many of them have jobs that are as involved. Sometimes I get my mom to go along with me. That's happened like twice this year, and it took a lot of begging and pleading. I think the one day she came with me, the first time was when I had 8 schools in one day. So I was like, please don't make me go. But my car sponsor is Sarah of Nashville out towards Gallatin. I do like my Chevy Equinox, but it is fun getting to trade cars every 3,000 to 5,000 miles because you get to try out a lot of fun ones. I did learn really quickly that it has to be an Equinox or bigger because I'm tall and getting down into an Impala is not fun for me, especially with this added height. So, but it's been fun. We're really grateful for them too. Of course. There's not much of a personal life there. I'm allowed to be a person off of social media for the most part. But as long as like it's kept quiet, they kind of let me run free within reason. Usually it involves like an 8 p.m. bedtime when I'm feeling really wild. No, I mean I share my location with my dad and my mom because they worry with traveling 80,000 miles. So I'm sure they're like chaperoning silently, even though I'm 23. But I am allowed to have a personal life. There's just not a lot of time for it. So it's going to be fun to figure out what being a Christine is like again in the summer.
Sibyl's got a great dentist you might want to.
I heard he has a really great name too. You have all the connections. Yes.
Yes, I want to ask. So you speak to a lot of students. You go to a lot of schools. What are the biggest challenges you think that they face? I mean, we read about things. Now, my kid's out of school, out now, long gone. So the bullying, the cyber stuff, and everything. So if you could just, what's going on there?
I think it's hard for kids to realize the permanence of social media. So I like to share with them being in data analytics. I help build digital database warehouses and physical database warehouses that store Snapchats forever, essentially. And every social media platform, every website stores content that's posted forever, whether it's visible or not. Because I think that's the biggest disconnect is that, if it's deleted, then it's gone. And not even just for their own reputations, but for their safety. I have read a lot of parenting articles for somebody with no kids. There's one app called, I think it's called, not TikTok, that has a new name now, where kids can silently post a lot of things and there's not the same media filters for content that Instagram or Facebook would have to protect them. So for me, it's always a concern for their safety. Because I think it's hard for them to realize that things can last forever because they are so young. And I was lucky to be the part of the millennial generation. I'm the last year of millennials. But that part of my generation got to see social media develop. So I feel like I've been very fortunate to get to see the wonderful things that social media can do and the not so wonderful things social media can do. So explaining to them that it does last forever, that you're not actually invincible as we would all like to believe we are. But most importantly, to protect themselves, to look out for their friends, because bullying is so much worse than it was even when I was in elementary school. But to also let them know that they can speak up and that the people, their teachers, their guidance counselors, the principals are at the school to help them, but that it's okay to reach out and speak up. Y'all are quiet now. Yes. Right. So that was confusing for the lady at the front desk because Miss USA was last night. And I was like, no, girl, I didn't just buy him. Savannah is from Nashville and is wonderful. And I'm so excited to know her as Miss Tennessee USA. But I'm in the America system and got to compete for that in September, which is very confusing because there's so many systems now. It was until I think it was the 1980s they switched. For a while, they wouldn't let anybody wear heels either, which is just weird. So there were a bunch of girls walking around on stage barefoot in their swimsuits. But we have always had a choice in competing of whatever we feel most comfortable in, whatever makes us feel our best. Yes.
So what's involved in keeping the crown firmly on your head?
There's a piece of elastic that goes through here, and then it's bobby pinned on. So
How many bobby pins?
Today, I think we're at like 4. I've got this. So the state crown has an extra row. So I had the other one down to like 3 bobby pins, like in 5 seconds flat. So figuring out this one, I was like,
I'm impressed. It's not moving at all.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And there's a lot of hair up here too that's not mine. So that definitely helps. The extensions help hold everything together too. Yes. So I sang, I've sang since I was 8, and I sang Never Enough from The Greatest Showman. There was a big pink dress that made me feel like a holiday Barbie. It was a great time. I should have brought the pink dress with me. Yes. And there is a big pink dress too. The best part. All right. Is that everybody? All right. Well, thank you so much.
Christine, thank you so much for coming today and speaking to us. Please accept this as a token of our appreciation. And if you would, we read to elementary school students. This isn't your book, but it is a book. If you would please sign it.
I would love to.
And then we will tell them about your visit with us here today.
Absolutely. I'd be happy
Thank
to.
you so much.
I appreciate that.
I know Christine doesn't know this, that her and I actually have a lot in common. I mean, our terms are about to end at roughly the same time. She got a crown and a sash. I got a really ugly sport coat that wouldn't fit Charles. So, I mean, what's not to like? Today, if you would just clear the tables, leave the chairs, the tables, and the tablecloths exactly where they are because they need it right after this meeting. But if you would clear up the trash and whatnot, that would be greatly appreciated. Remember to sign up for the May 17th District Conference luncheon. If there is nothing else for the good of Rotary, we are adjourned.